Hello everyone, I am the analyst. Welcome to MLS Week in Review. You follow me on Twitter at theanalyst32, and that's where you can find me there. So, another great week in the MLS. The Timbers, as much as it pains me to say, lost to the New York Red Bull 0-2 at home. It was one of those games where the Timbers really didn't show any energy coming out of the gate. As much as they tried to show it by starting one of their faster players, Maxwell Urruti, in the forward attacking position with Lucas Milano, it really doesn't pan out to anything. You really should be starting Fernando Adi in that position, because Fernando Adi has scored goals this season, and Urruti really hasn't. So, at some point, we really need to stop making those changes and just have a consistent lineup for these games. It really was one of those matches where the Red Bull were attacking a lot, and you expect that with the likes of Bradley Wright Phillips, with the likes of Felipe Martins in the fold. We weren't cohesive. We didn't really look like we had the energy like we wanted to be there as Timbers. So, really, the Red Bull figured that out. Took them till about the 43rd minute or so, when in a clear highlight, Felipe Martins has this huge strike from 30-40 yards out. Nobody was on him. It was literally, you saw the likes of Diego Charo and Will Johnson just staring at him, being like, okay, are you picking him up? No? Are you picking him up? Heck, am I picking him up? Who knows? Someone should have picked him up, but instead he went free for about 10 to 15 yards and off a throw-in of all things, and put in a strike over Kouarse's head that nobody really, well, in a way everybody saw it coming, but that's not the point. With this win, the Red Bull are the first team in MLS to clinch a playoff spot, and they do it out east and are currently tied for the lead of the Supporters' Shield with Vancouver, being that Vancouver didn't get a result. But we'll get to that here in a few moments. Our next match is DC United, a team that had been one of the best teams in MLS for most of the season, is starting to slip. Yes, they've been playing well in Champions League play, or CONCACAF Champions League play, to be precise. They lose to the Columbus Crew 2-1. Kai Kamara has been on a tear. He gets another goal for his 21st of the season. And DC United needs to figure out what they're doing. They're just not getting the offensive production they would like in MLS play. They have really the possibility of slipping back and getting passed up by hot teams such as Montreal, who got another 3 points technically this past week they got 4 points because they drew last Wednesday. And then they won on Saturday. But Montreal has been on a tear. Drogba has really just pushed them to a new level. And their coaching change, or the managerial change, seemed to help. And you also have teams, just because I want to look it up and not get it wrong, you also have teams like Orlando City and Toronto that aren't far behind either. Toronto is sitting at 40 points, and DC United is sitting at 44 points currently. And I will have that table up here for you in a little bit at the end of this video to see what I mean. So we have to figure out what DC United is doing. DC United has to figure out what they're doing. And hopefully they'll be able to turn the ship around to keep their playoff spot, because they're pulling a Toronto right now, and that's not exactly a good thing. And some of you will know what I'm talking about when I say pulling a Toronto. Anywho, going on to our next game in a match that decides the Cascadia Cup. Vancouver loses to Seattle 0-3 in a match where Seattle was controlling most of the game Vancouver was missing Morales, which tends to be their guy who instigates and provides the energy for their squad. You saw Obafemi Martins get a goal. You saw Stephen Fry get another clean sheet. Impressively, him and Nick Marshall are definitely starting to roll into form. However, the Sounders, even with having their attacking players back, they lost Osvaldo Alonso, at least for the next couple of games, I would assume. It did not look good. And I really hope the best for him, even though he's a Seattle player. So, going into our next game, like I said, Montreal's been on a tear. Montreal beat another team who was on a tear, the New England Revolution, 3-0. The Revolution had beaten the Red Bulls on Wednesday. And now they lose to the Impact. Drogba got another score. He also got an assist in there, I believe, as well. And Drogba has been scoring more than most of the MLS players in the past few games. He's up to 4 or 5 goals at this point since his introduction. So, man, if you talk about a guy who possibly should be noted as an MVP coming in, I hate to say it, but adding the old guy was a good thing. Adding the old guy was a good thing for Montreal. And they are settling into 6th into the East, but they are looking to push up into the top half of the table for the Eastern Conference. Of note, some weird results. As much as RSL doesn't lose at home very often, they still beat the LA Galaxy 3-0 this past week. And the LA Galaxy had everybody in fold. They had Gerrard, they had Robbie Keane, they had Giovanni Dos Santos, they had Zardes. What are you going to do? I mean, goodness. I know you have Ricketts in goal, and as a Timbers fan, I feel for you a little bit. Having Ricketts in goal is kind of frustrating at times, but LA, figure it out, because the rest of the Western Conference is looking to catch up and is catching up quickly. And as a Timbers fan, I know that they're breathing down our necks. So, also, NYCFC has found some form recently. They beat San Jose over the weekend 3-2, and David Villa gets his 17th goal. His 17th goal of the season. So it's good to see NYCFC kind of put up a fight here in the late stretch. And speaking of putting up a late fight, Orlando City beat Chicago. Well, that's not really putting up a late fight. Chicago's terrible. But they beat Chicago 1-0. They actually won a game they were supposed to for once. And in that case, also, Chicago fired their manager and almost everybody else finally in the squad. Well, not in the squad, in their management. But hopefully that brings in some new talent in terms of managerial talent, whatever. I don't need to edit that out. The Chicago Fire really have to do something new to be competitive over the next few seasons, because they look bad. Sporting Kansas City beat FC Dallas 3-1 on Friday. Kind of surprising, because FC Dallas have been playing pretty well lately, and Sporting Kansas City has not. But good for Sporting Kansas City. Toronto beat Colorado 3-1 over the weekend. And on Wednesday, I was saying NYCFC had found some form. They beat Toronto 2-0 on Wednesday. So good to see Toronto bounce back over the weekend and beat Colorado after their loss on Wednesday. So, and I will have the table up here for you guys. We'll start with the Western Conference. The Western Conference tied for the Supporter Shield race. Vancouver is at 48 points. The LA Galaxy are at 47 points. FC Dallas is at 47 points as well. Seattle is at 45 points. Sporting Kansas City is at 44. Portland at 41. San Jose at 40. RSL at 38. Houston at 35. Colorado at 34. There near the bottom. It is close, tight-knit, and is going to come down to the wire. Portland needs to find some form if they're going to stay in a playoff position, as much as I hate to say it. In the East, we have the New York Red Bull at 48 points, Columbus Crew at 47, New England Revolution at 46, DC United at 45, Toronto at 40. Yes, I do realize I said 44 earlier for DC United. They did get a draw a week back. I apologize about that. Toronto is at 40, Montreal is at 36, Orlando at 35, NYCFC at 34, Philadelphia Union at 33, and Chicago at 27. Anyway, this has been MLS Week in Review. I am The Analyst, at TheAnalyst32 on Twitter. Give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe if you would like to as well, and we shall see you on the other side of the pitch. Thanks for watching.